Hey y'all. Okay, repercussions for cheating. Here we go. True story, live people, actual people, like always. So she has a child. Well, he's grown now, but she had a child from a previous. I don't think he has any kids. But anyway, regardless of the point, they've been together for a long time. Um, but then he when he was no longer able to work, which a lot of men make their work and their ability to make money, their identity and their masculinity. They equate that with being a man, and when they're no longer able to work and provide, it feels like in a way, their manhood has been stripped from them. Not every man feels this way, but a lot of people, period. It kind of hurts when you're not able to do what you used to be able to do and that sort of thing. And at that particular point, when he lost his job and was physically no longer able to work, he started taking it out on her, his anger and frustration out on her, his wife. And he started being really verbally abusive. And then over time, not only did he lose his career, but he lost his health as well. He had decided to get the shot, if you know what I mean. And that was one of the worst things he could have done, because after he got the shot, he developed Guillain-Barré syndrome. Sorry about that on the screen. Where your body basically attacks your, I believe it attacks your nervous system, if I'm correct. And they don't know what causes it. You just start deteriorating. And he's at the point now where he can no longer walk. He's in a wheelchair. He does go to physical therapy, but he'll probably always be in the wheelchair. Was not the nicest person to his wife. And there were times that she actually had to stay with family because he was so hateful. And he is a friend of a friend. And I had told my friend before, when he was, dropping hints about me and tell her we're going to have a steak dinner sometime and all this other stuff. I met his wife. I didn't have a problem with her. He's got a problem with her, but I don't have a problem with her. He doesn't know how to manage finances, so she handles the money so the bills get paid. And there's random things that he collects that he would buy, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, just because he's got a attachment to those particular things. And that's not going to get your bills paid. So she handles the money. Of course, he acts like a victim. She handles all the money and I don't get to... Right? Because you're frivolous with money. So if one person is more responsible and they make sure the bills get paid, you have a desire to collect and collect and collect, and you don't really care if the bills get paid, then that privilege will be taken away from you and that person will handle the money, and that's just how it's going to be. You can bitch and moan and scream and yell, but if you act like a child, you'll be treated like a child. His wife does everything for him, regardless of him turning on her verbally when he has, and taking his anger and frustrations out on her. She still took care of him. She still took him to his doctor visits. She still looked out for him. She still told him, about his medication, remind him about his medications and everything. But at the same time, I found out that he was not only playing victim and acting like his wife is just the meanest thing ever. Other friends corrected those lies and told my friend that's not true. He's the one who's been verbally abusive to her. So while he's sitting here acting like he married the daughter of Satan, he's lying. Because he would scream at her, yell at her, go ballistic on her. But he would leave that part of the story out. And when she'd retaliate, he would, emphasize the retaliation and diminish what he's actually done. Wife does everything for him. They had a special van so that it has a special thing on there that makes it a lot easier to tote around his wheelchair. But he decided he wanted to start flirting with other women and all this other business. And I told my friend, which I was hoping he would tell him, which isn't really going to work, but I tried. I said, you need to tell him that people do not, I don't give a damn. I'm going to keep it real. If you're looking for unicorns and rainbows, you came to the wrong channel. The wrong channel. I'm going to keep it real. People do not want to deal with your physical issues. They do not. They do not. Now, my personal observations are I've seen young ladies not judge guys when they find out he walks with a cane or he is in a wheelchair. They are a lot more caring, nurturing, and understanding. Guys are not. I'm talking when someone first gets to talking to you. They're not. They run. I don't want to know about your physical ailments. I don't want to know if you have a disability. I don't want to hear it. Do they come out and say those words? No, but they run for the hills when they find out something is wrong with you. He doesn't understand that concept, but he will understand that pretty fast. When people realize these chicks that he's talking to, when the chicks find out that he's not independently wealthy, and he's in a wheelchair, and he probably can't, do the deed, because that's top of everybody's priority, almost everybody's priority list, got to get laid today. When they find out he can't do none of that and he's not independently wealthy, he's going to wish to God that he had stayed faithful, that he didn't flirt with other people. Well, it finally bit him on the ass. His wife found out about it. She looked through his phone because she suspected that he was sneaking and creeping. And she found evidence in his phone. When you come to the realization that women will take advantage of you and then run, because that's the world we live in. People want what they can get from you. Good people are not like that, but a lot of people are not good people. So they want what they could get. And when they realize that they're limited to what they can get from you, they're out the door. I'll give you another example. Oh, by the way, okay, so let me go back. So his wife found evidence of him cheating in his cell phone. So then she decided, oh, okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and go through with the divorce then. That's what we're going to do. He's an idiot. He has, which is temporary, a beautiful home. They've got plenty of acreage so far as land goes. His house is wheelchair accessible, so it's easy for him to get around. His wife did everything in the world for him, even though there were times that he didn't deserve it. And instead of appreciating what he has, he's going to go for the grass is greener syndrome. The grass is always greener on the other side. Really? You wait till your ass gets over there. You got a rude awakening when you realize that people got their hands out. What can I get from you? Oh, I'm limited to what I could get? Peace out. They're going to be out the door. And I'm going to tell you something else. And I've told you this before, and I'll tell you again. Hospice nurses will tell you in a New York second that wives, when their husbands become terminally ill, they're dying, the wives will take care of them, and she wants to learn everything she needs to do to make his life better until he's no longer breathing. Husbands, more often than not, leave their wives or put them in a facility. You're dying, I'm not dealing with that bullshit. I'm out. It is in a man's DNA to tell you in so many words or less, go screw yourself. I'm not dealing with anything inconvenient for me. I'm out. Is that disgusting behavior? Yes. Is it typical of men? Yes. Do all men act this way? No, but many of them do. These are hospice nurses. These are not nurses on TV, people pretending to be nurses. These are actual nurses. And if you personally know people who work in nursing homes or anything like that, they have seen men die on their own a lot of times by themselves, even though red pill men will say, women who don't want to be bothered with men no more, you're gonna die with 30 cats. Really? Then why are people who work in facilities and hospice, centers and this kind of thing, why do they see men die by themselves? Because you done stuck it in everybody you could. You treated people like shit. You thought your time would never come to a grinding halt. You thought you was always going to have your looks and your slick talk and all this other crap that you done did to people, and then you broke their hearts and skipped to the next person. You thought you would never run out of time with that. And you always been in control, and then you lost your health, and that is one thing that you ain't going to have no control over. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that women don't do terrible things too, because they do. Women will marry men for money. This is nothing new. And if you're falling apart, but you're wealthy, that's even better. So people could be snakes all around the board, but men are notorious for I can't really say pulling their emotions out of the wall, because they usually don't have emotions tied into it, which is why they could be married to somebody for 20 years. She becomes ill, terminally ill, and he's like, well, I'm out. I told you before, and I'll tell you again, I know of someone who not only put his wife in a facility, he forbid her to have visitors. Yeah, you heard me. He forbid her to have visitors. In addition to that, he moved his girlfriend in him and his wife's home. And she's like, what, more than half his age? Which is also typical. If she just finished learning how to draw with crayons, well, that's even better, okay? I mean, people do some dirty, filthy, stinky things. And they never, ever, ever think, they never have enough sense to realize one day my time's going to run out with that. One day karma's going to bite me on my butt. One day all the dirt that I've done is going to come for me. They never think that's going to happen, because life has always been a sheet of ice. You just slide right through and you do whatever you want to do, and you slide to the next person, and then you slide to the next person, and they don't realize, oh, you're going to slide right into a ditch. And people aren't going to be there for you, because how you die is how you lived. If you were horse's ass when you were alive, do you honestly think people are going to feel bad for you? And do you honestly think all of a sudden they're going to go to your funeral, all the people that you kicked mud in their face? What world are you living in where people forgive, forgive, forgive? Yes, there may be a few people that do that, but overall, people remember that you dogged them out, that you were not there for them when they needed you the most, that you stuck them in a facility when you were dying, when they were dying. People's family members, when that person dies, their family remembers that you were an asshole. And when you want them to be in your corner, if they're stupid, they'll be in your corner. The smart ones will be like, nah, nah, I remember what you did to my aunt or my mom or my sister or whoever it is, my cousin. I remember what you did. The only reason you're being humble now is because your world has come to a screeching halt, because you got medical bad news, or because you don't have anybody in your corner no more. All of a sudden, you want to recycle people that you had before. But they remember what you did to their loved one, and they're like, yeah, no. I mean, you going through some things? Well, you better figure it out. Because that's called karma. Everything that you did is biting you on your butt now. It never feels as good on the receiving end. So anyway, this couple, they're getting a divorce. Her son is not going to allow her to forgive him again. And he has a rude awakening. He has a rude awakening. All these women that he thinks are lining up for him, he's going to find out real quick. Even when they go through divorce and everybody gets paid, everything gets split down the middle. It's called community property. Everything gets split down the middle. When that money runs out, they sell the house and they have to split the proceeds of the house and everything else. When all that money runs out, women are going to be in the dust because they don't want to be with a guy in a wheelchair. They don't want to deal with that. Now, Brian, let me see. Brian's channel on YouTube is called Paralyzed Living, I think. Brian's woman stayed by his side because women are more understanding and more caring about people having disabilities. He was perfectly fine. And I guess, I don't know if they were still together at the time. I think they were. I don't remember. I don't know. But he was driving, riding his motorcycle. He wasn't too far from home one day, and he got hit from behind and hit a tree. And he's been paralyzed ever since. This was before he married his girlfriend. She knew he was going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life. He asked her to marry. She said yes. They are now married with a child. They had to go through some type of special medical procedures for, to have a child. And they're very happy. Unlike a man, she didn't say, oh, you're in a wheelchair? Ew. It was nice knowing you, but peace out. A guy will do that in a god dang heartbeat. And I'm going to tell you this before I go, okay? And it's kind of funny because the guy is stupid. Anyway, so this arrogant little SOB, he was married, and we were supposed to go on a date. This is way back in the day when I was dumb and I didn't know that dating sites were a complete waste of time. And I don't want to hear that your cousin's cousin found her person and they've been married for umpteen years. That was a long time ago. That was before all the predators came online, okay? So I don't really want to hear it. I don't. Anyway, so this fool asked me out, and before I realized that men will dump you before the first date because you have a disability, before I knew that, I was honest because I'm stupid. I was honest and told him, I do have to tell you that I do have a disability, but I take care of myself. Nobody takes care of me. I'm pretty independent and, that kind of thing. Well, he ghosted me. He ghosted me. But wait a second. It gets better. Don't you think it don't? It gets better. All right. So I don't know how many months it was. or a year, 6 months, 9 months, 10 months. I don't really know, but a good while passed. And he saw me on another dating site. And he started talking to me because he didn't remember who I was. And I'm staring at his picture like, why does he look so familiar? Why does he look familiar? And my brain's going, oh, that's the dude that ghosted me. So he didn't remember who I was. So he's throwing down his little Mac game. And once I remembered who he was, I ghosted him. I didn't say hi, bye, screw you. I didn't say a freaking word. I blocked his ass. Never as much fun on the receiving end. Anyway, so I tell you all that. Here's the bottom line. Everything that glitters is not gold. You better god dang appreciate what you got. If you got a good partner and that person doesn't run away because you're disabled or because you're in a wheelchair, because whatever is going on with you, they don't run. They are still by your side. You would be a god dang flipping idiot to flirt with other people and to try to get with them. You'd be a god dang flipping idiot. And you're going to end up dying alone. No one holding your hand, no one being by your side, no one going to the hospital to see you before you die. No one's going to be there. And your ex-wife or whatever is not going to be there no way either. Because you don't put her through the ringer. And it's going to bite you on the ass. So if I were you, men or women, you better figure it out. You better not turn your back on a good thing because you think there's something way better over there that's got more glitter is more exciting. Because you're going to find out the hard way that that's not all you think it is. I have a disability. I know how ignorant people are. I had a guy tell me on the roof, we got into talking about dating and this and that. And I told him, he wasn't trying to mac me. You know what he said? You probably don't want to tell people that you have a disability because it makes people, I don't really know how he worded it. It makes them back away or something like that. He is absolutely right. But if I'm not trying to get with you like that, I don't care if you know. I'm not trying to date you no way. Whoever the person is. If they run, they run. Because I'm not really trying to... I know people do that. They're fucking stupid and they're evil. Because it can happen to them too. And like I said, it's not so much fun on the receiving end. All right? Karma. Karma knows everybody's phone number, everybody's address, and everybody's name. Okay? So, if you got a good thing, and your partner's good to you, but you're just bored... So you start looking at other people, you better slow your freaking roll because that will bite you on your ass so hard. You'll literally be in tears because you'll end up being alone. Your partner will find out, will leave you, and you're done. That's it. You're done. Then you have to ask yourself, was it worth it? All that dirt that I did, was it worth it? We had a saying back in the day. You think the grass is greener on the other side. And then you find out that it's AstroTurf, which is the fake grass. Keep playing if you want to. Much love. Y'all take care. Bye.